So that was probably the strangest NASCAR weekend I have ever watched in my history of being a NASCAR fan. So NASCAR went racing in the streets of Chicago this weekend with the Cup Series and Xfinity Series, and let's just say that I found it to be pretty weird. So first of all, we're racing in a city right now, on a street course, on real roads, which NASCAR has never done. You can see in the background there were skyscrapers everywhere. I mean, it looks weird. There's traffic lights too. We're racing NASCAR Cup cars around a city, which we have never even come close to seeing. So crazy stuff already, seeing the NASCAR Cup cars going around Chicago City with trains in the background, cars, you can see traffic going in the background. Just insane sights to see. Never thought we would ever see this. And yeah, just a crazy thing to start that off just with the city and the track alone. The second really weird thing is the amount of flooding and rain that we had in Chicago. So it was a record for this day, July 2nd on Sunday, for the amount of rainfall we had. Of course, when NASCAR just comes to town, of course that's got to happen. The amount of puddles we had, and it was completely flooded. The pit road was just completely flooded. The track was flooded. Everything was flooded. They had like tires floating around on pit road. It was insane, and I've never seen this before in NASCAR as long as I've been a fan. Puddles everywhere, flooding all over the racetrack. I mean, completely undrivable and just crazy conditions. We could not start the race in these. Luckily for the Cup race, the rain let up and actually stopped, and by the time the race was about over, it was almost dry. There were still some puddles around the track, but just insane that the track was this wet, and still somehow we luckily got the race in on today, which is Sunday. Another thing that is really weird and not like NASCAR at all is they called the Xfinity race before halfway. So they postponed it till, it was supposed to be Saturday, they postponed it till Sunday, but then they never got a lap in Sunday and then just decided to cancel the race, which they've never done before halfway. If it was actually halfway on Saturday, then the race would have been called then. So they didn't get a single lap of racing in when they called the race that day, which has never happened before. So really strange thing happening here. So, and yeah, NASCAR calls the Xfinity race right before halfway and not even through stage 2. And of course, also, we can't forget the best race car drivers in the world, causing on a huge parking lot down into one of the corners in the middle of the Cup Series Chicago street race. So good job, guys. Very good look for a sport, causing a huge pileup like this with 25 cars involved, no one being able to move, and then we're all blocking each other out and we're trying to get out of the mess. And it's good job, the best race car drivers in the world. Another strange thing about the Chicago street race weekend is Rick Ware Racing actually running good, so don't mind the Rick Ware picture in the background. Anyway, so Andy Lally and Jenson Button actually had pretty good races. Jenson Button made it to the final round of qualifying, was fast in practice, and I think he qualified P8. He ended up finishing 21st, but was actually before that, before he got spun, and coming to pit road, was running in the top 10 all race long. And he had a great run going. And Andy Lally, I saw for a second, was running in the top 20. So we've never seen this before by Rick Ware Racing. This is their best race by far, and the two best drivers they've ever had in a single race. So they definitely should do more races like these with these great drivers with the road courses. So best race by far for Rick Ware Racing. I mean, it's not the best finishes, obviously, but the other best finishes were at Daytona, where half the field wrecked, and there was like 5 cars running at the end. Still definitely not the finish that they deserved. Definitely should have been a top 10 for Jenson Button and probably a top 20 for Andy Lally. And that would have been a great day for Rick Ware Racing. Still a good day. Andy Lally came up from 30th to finish P26. And Jenson Button fell back from P8 to finish P21. So definitely a much better day for Jenson Button than what Andy Lally had. But still quiet and good day for Andy Lally with those two Rick Ware Racing cars. And the final strange thing that happened this weekend is a thing that most people will never forget. Shane Van Gisbergen, whatever, I don't even know his name, it's SVG. We're just going to call him that from now on. In his NASCAR Cup Series debut, I think even in his NASCAR debut, he's never raced a NASCAR stock car before, not even ARCA or anything like that. He wins at the Chicago street course in his first ever NASCAR race. This hasn't happened in the Cup Series since the 1960s. I mean, Ty Gibbs won his first ever NASCAR race, but in Daytona of 2021 with the Daytona road course for the Xfinity Series, but that was Xfinity. This is the Cup Series, and a supercar champion from New Zealand is able to pick up the win in his NASCAR debut. So, insane moment right here. Coming into this weekend, I had no expectations for him. I thought he was going to run 25th, just be quiet all day like Kimi Räikkönen was in the 91 car, but no. He ends up winning the race, and not by any like lucky break or anything like that. No, he was in the top 5 all day, was battling for the win all day long, and he ends up with his first win, and the first win for Trackhouse with the 91 car, and I think Trackhouse Racing's 5th win, also 2 in a row, which has never happened, which is another strange thing that happened this weekend. So that's basically just gonna wrap this video. Shane getting his first ever NASCAR win, and I guess his NASCAR average finish is a 1.0, which is the best of anyone ever. So congrats, he's got the best average finish of anyone in NASCAR. So that'll just wrap it up today. Comment down below if you think I missed anything for these strange moments. And yeah, Shane of SVG getting his first NASCAR win and his first career start. Hopefully we can see him later. I mean, obviously we're going to see him in more NASCAR stars. Probably full-time one day in the Cup Series. I would not be surprised at all if Trackhouse ends up making a third full-time entry. And yeah, SVG with his first NASCAR win in his Cup Series debut. So that's just going to wrap it up for the Chicago Street Race. Atlanta is next week, which should finally get back to normal stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.